Hi there, this is Shauna from the Foil Fox, and I am back again. It's been a little bit, but I am so pleased to present to you a new stamp and die set by Concord and I. It's called All About Cake, and who doesn't love cake? And it makes these wonderful birthday cakes and with all the trimmings. And then it has the stamp set, has a bunch of sentiments that you can choose from, plus some sprinkles and candles. And then I'm also going to use a sentiment set by my favorite things called Itty Bitty Basics. So I'm also introducing to our shop, which is brand new, which I love, are these inks. These are all the inks and the cardstock. These match. All the colors match to the inks. And you can buy the inks separately. So any color that you want to choose, or you can buy the whole set if you'd like. They're just yummy, yummy colors. And then this paper pack, which I just love because you're going to have every color in the rainbow. You get 2 sheets of each one. It's a great pack to get. So I look at those colors. I just love them. And they work so nicely together, so you know that they're always going to match the ink and also going to match be a nice coordinate to one another. Now I'm picking out a few pinks. I love that peach. Isn't that a wonderful peach color? And I'm going to use a little bit of black, but mainly for this first project, I'm using these 3 pinks. If you can call peach a pink, I think we can. And then I'm going to choose some honeysuckle and some buttercup just to start out. So a really nice pink and a bright yellow. And then I'm also going to be using, this is a piece of alpaca, which is a gray paper, but it has a pink cast to it, a white card base, which is A2, a white panel that's a little bit smaller. It's probably like 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have a piece of foam that will go in the back of the white, so it will pop it up. So it'll just stack just like that. And then I just cut down those pieces that you saw before, the pinks, just so that they're easier to handle. And then I also chose a yellow. So to get started here, I've got that panel, the white panel, all those pieces I showed you before. We're going to set those aside and just work on the panel. Take out that sprinkle stamp. And I'm just going to put this on an acrylic block and stamp it up with the honeycomb, or honeysuckle. It's a wonderful pink. And I'm going to stamp it, and I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to stamp it so that it will be stamped at the top and the bottom. I love these pads. These are foam pads on these ink cubes, and they are fabulous. I love the foam. Just is so juicy, and it makes a really nice impression. Now I'm stamping it with the same stamp with yellow, but I'm offsetting it. So they're not right on top of one another. The yellow is just intermingled with the pink. I'm going to do that on both sides. There you can take a look at how that looks, and then we're going to set that aside while we make a cake. And there's candles. You can see I'm pointing to that, and they're little flames. And then we have so the flames is the yellow, and I'm going to use all 3 colors for the layers of the cake, and those little, you can see there's little starbursts in there. We're just going to concentrate on these colors. So I have taken out all of the dies for the cake. I'm going to make a 3-layer cake here. And I'm going to have a different color for each layer. And then I'm going to make cut some candles with all 3 of those colors as well. And the same with with those starbursts. I'm just going to use the yellow and that darker pink. And you'll see in just a minute, here are, my pieces all prepared to get ready to cut. I've trimmed them back a little bit because I don't like to waste this yummy paper. And here they are, all the pieces. Now I also am cutting out these little swirls, these little frosting swirls, and I'm going to use those in different colors too. And there's 3 different sizes of those to fit the 3 layers. And I have some stickles, and these are white stickles, and I also have some strawberry um, nouveau drops that I'm just going to kind of decorate the bottoms of this cake. This is just, you can skip this step, but I just wanted to add just a couple of things to the to decorate my cake. 2 additional things. So I'm just put in some of those strawberry drops, and everything's going to be in the supply list. There's a link down below. You can check it all out. And then I'm using these stickles. I use stickles a lot. They may be old school, but they really are a quick and easy way just to get a little bit of shimmer to your project. Now I have these scissors, these decorative scissors. I'm talking about old school. These are a little bit, old school, but they come in so handy. This is a wavy line. It's really nice to have the set. It's inexpensive to get this scissor set to have these decorative edges, and I use them from time to time. And you can see how it makes this wavy line, and then I line it up again and then cut through it, making sure I'm matching up those waves. And I'm just going to cut 3 of these here because I have 3 layers to my cake, and I'm going to have this be kind of a little frosting on the top. You can put it in the middle there so you can kind of divide it into like the look of a layer cake, but I'm going to put it at top. I'm going to still use my little decorations for my cake. I'm going to just really make my cake festive. So with a little bit of glue, really love the L'Enfant glue. It's the right consistency. It doesn't come out too quick, and it's not too thick, so it doesn't come out very well. It's just perfect. It's kind of the Goldilocks, so it's just right. The Goldilocks of glue. And then, so those are all on there. Get those all straight. Now I'll take these white pieces and I'm going to add them a piece to every one of these layers, these 3 layers. And they're a little bit longer than what I need. So I'm just about running out of glue here. So I'm going to go and get another container of glue. And I'm going to trim this back just with my scissors. Now I have them on all 3 of them. And now let's put them all together so we put the cake together here. Be great if a wonderful cake like this in real life could come together this fast. And so isn't that cute? I just love that. Then now we're going to do the candles. I cut a bunch of candles, if you remember, and we cut a bunch of the little starbursts too. Now I used the negative piece of my candle when I cut it out, and I've just temporarily, I used that repositionable tape runner, hold it down, just put a little bit of that on that negative space so it becomes a holder for my candles. Now I could have put it in my Misty and done the same thing, but I thought this was just really fast just to put it right on my work surface. And there's these different, as you can see, there's 2 different kinds of stripes and some dots that you can decorate your cake. I'm using some different inks here. I'm still using honeysuckle and then marmalade and poppy. These all come from their collection. Now I have those little flames, just putting the flames on my candle. Just that little bit of glue on them. And I don't know how many candles I'm going to actually use, but I just did a bunch of them. And now I have gold stickles, and I'm just going to add a touch to it. Now you could use gold glitter paper here, but I decided that I just wanted to add a little bit of the gold glitter on top of my yellow paper. Now I have my pieces pretty much done. Here are my starbursts. I cut them out of that darker pink and the yellow, and I'm going to stack them, and I'm going to offset them so they have more of a starburst. Some are going to have the yellow on top, and some will have the pink. And I'm going to just arrange them on here. I think that's going to be how it'll go. Then I'll arrange 5 of these candles. Just kind of getting it straight. You can see that I line it up to my work surface, so I can just get, even though I want them to kind of be whimsical, not be completely straight up and down, I do want to make sure that they're not totally off kilter. So I do line up my panel with my my grid on my work surface. Now I'm just going to glue these guys down. We're nearly done with the front of this card, but we're going to do something really, really fun and special. Now, I decided that I needed even a little bit more glitter and glitz to my front of my card. So I took just an ordinary hole punch and I punched out some circles from some gold glitter paper. Now, like I said, everything's in our supply list, so not to worry. Don't have to write them down. We've got you covered. So we're going to stick those all down. Now we have the candles down. I chose a sentiment from this little itty bitty basic set. Just happy birthday. I'm going to stamp it onto a piece of black cardstock with some Versamark ink. Again, I'm going to use that little runner. That's a repositionable. And use lots of static powder because I am really terrible about getting embossing powder in all the places I don't want to see it. So I use a ton in hopes that that doesn't happen. Inked it up with Versamark ink and now using some white embossing powder, and I'm just going to heat emboss this. I'm just using a little scrap of the black. Really nice cardstock, by the way. It is 100 pound, I believe, and that is a really great heavy weight to it. So it's nice to use. So I just stuck that on there. So the front is nearly done. I'm going to add a little bit of double stick tape to the back and add that foam. I had that little piece of thin foam and add it to the back so it'll pop it up. Now I started with using that runner again, and that double stick runner, but you can see it stretches it. So let's just get out the glue and glue that up. I like to smear it with my finger all the way to the edge and stick that down. Now I haven't, as you can see, it's not on the card base yet. So you can see there's my card base. We're going to kind of set that aside, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with our cake that we made. That piece right there, it's a white strip that has some fold marks, and it also says glue on all of the panels but one. But first, let's put some sprinkles on the inside of my card base. This is why I didn't put the front onto the card base yet. I have taped it down, and this is that piece I cut, that straight piece. But right now I'm going to use that honeysuckle and the buttercup again. Stamp it. And it's not quite long enough, so I'm going to just ink it again and get that little area right there. And then I'm going to do the same with the buttercup, the yellow. And remember, I'm going to offset it just like I did before, so that they kind of intermingle. And I have some nice little sparklies or festiveness at the top of my card. And you'll see this is actually the top. It looks like the bottom, but we're going to take the tape off and we're going to turn it around. There we go. So now it's at the top. And I'm going to take Celebrate, which is part of that stamp set. My cake is going to pop up inside there, so you got to leave a little room for there. So you can see I kind of measured. I am going to use my stamp positioner for this, And I'm using what I love when I want a crisp black is I'm using VersaFine Black Onyx. And I'm gonna use a little stamp press there, but you could use gray here. I thought about that later, that maybe I would have liked gray, or you can use pink. I'm gonna wipe that door, make sure I don't get any of that black where I don't want it, because we don't want to go to all this work and then have not be careful enough and make a little mistake and have to redo it. So there I have the Celebrate. I have there's the card front. So now we're going to put the card front on there. Now that we know that the card base is good, and we're going to now put the card front on there. Now you can use glue, or you can use double stick tape, or whatever you like to stick something down. I like to use that double stick tape runner when I can. It's just fast and easy. Now to this piece, that rectangle piece that we cut, and if you look, it has sections that are divided by fold lines. We're going to fold it on each of these, but it also says glue on every one of those little sections except for one. So you can put glue, but I find it's less messy when you use some double stick tape here. And so I'm just putting double stick tape every place that it says glue. They made it super easy for you, so you can't make a mistake here. And you want to be sure not to go over the fold line. Keep the tape away from the fold line. And now we're going to just fold it, keep folding it on each of those fold lines until it forms a rectangle, just like that. And remember, one little of the sections of that, it does not have any tape. So we're going to, right there, that right on top is the one that has no tape. I'm going slow here because I want you to just see exactly how this works. So I'm going to peel off the release tape on each of these panels, each of these little sections. And then we'll stick this down, and you can see how to stick it down. I'll try to go slowly so that you can get a really good look at how to do this, but it's very simple. Just remember that that one that has no tape is up at the top, and I'm going to take and line up the folds right there. Fold to my guard base, to the first fold there, stick that down. Then stick down the next one. This is going to be on the side that has the Celebrate on it. So the first one is on the lid, so to speak. See how the cake is going to stick there. Now I'm going to stick the cake down. See, it stands up now. Now I just got to stick this down. You can see how that works. And then I'm going to fold just that one little flap down and close this. And then when I open it, see how that works? So you remember that up at the top there, it had no glue. So when you close it, it's not going to stick. But the other parts is sticking our little interactive piece together. I just use the scissors there just to push it down a little bit further, just to make sure I'm getting a really good impression. And so there you go. I still have my rectangle, and see how that cake, you want to make sure the cake meets the base there so that you don't have a gap. Now you can see I'm opening and closing, and when you close it, all of a sudden it pushes the cake upward. This is why I didn't put the candles on first, because you'll see just exactly what happens. I think I want the candles there, but now because it pushes the cake up when I close it, the flames stick out. So if you do the candles last, you can decide exactly where you want them, and then stick on the rest of them because you have the proper length. So I'm going to use these 3 candles to add to my cake. And so there we are, this wonderful interactive cake. So it has this sweet front, and then what a surprise! A wonderful cake inside there. Great for anybody that's celebrating their birthday, and you can use any color scheme. So I think that really works. I hope you do too. So this is our first card. I decided to just show you with an envelope that you can decorate the envelope too. Now I chose to be a little bit tone on tone, but you could have used gray or black here or to have the candle stand up a little bit more. But if you just want to add a quick pizzazz to your card, you can just scatter some stamp on some scattered candles. You can also add I should have added a few of those sunbursts, but I'm just adding some candles just to make it a little bit more festive. But like I say, if you'd like them to stand out more, use a darker, like a black or a gray or something like that. Now we're going to use the marmalade just to stamp those little flames on. Now those are done. Now as an extra bonus, we're going to do another card with this stamp set because there's another way we can do it without the pop-up. There's these long sticks. You see that, those long pieces. There's the starburst I'm going to be using. There's the word yay I'm going to be using, and a lot of the other things. Now I'm not going to show you cutting it out like I did before because we all know how to do that. But I'm using more of the paper that's from that paper pack, using a couple of blues. And these are kind of the tealy blues. I'm going to put this in the stamp positioner because I'm going to use that really bold happy birthday. And I'm going to use the happy birthday, the happy on the small layer, and birthday on the larger one. Again, I'm going to use lots of static powder because I am going to white heat emboss this. So I'm going to stamp it with the Versamark ink, like always. And I'm going to stamp it several times because once I take this out of my positioner, it might be hard for me to put it back in the exact same place. I would love to be able to ink this again, and I'm sure there's a way I could have done it, but I chose to do it this way. I'm just going to ink it up lots of times with the Versamark ink so I make sure I have a good coating, and I'm using that stamp press. And then I'm going to take this out, sprinkle my white embossing powder, and then we're going to heat emboss this with my heat tool. So this is where the magic kind of happens. All of that melts and it gets darker. And then we have this really cute happy birthday. Now here is an A2 card base again. Again, the same panel, that like 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm going to add some more of this, these kind of sprinkles. I really love this stamp set. This one I'm going to just kind of take it down a little bit further, not re-ink it there so it kind of fades down. Not all the way down, just a little bit further. And I'm going to use the yellow, the buttercup, exactly the same as before. The nice thing is about it, you can decorate your cake and your card any way you like, but this is just a way to show you some of the things that you can do. Now this one I'm using a panel of antique gray, and I'm covering the whole front of my A2 card base. Then just like before, I have a piece of foam. I'm going to pop this up, use the tape runner to stick the foam down, but I learned from the last one it's going to stretch if I use the double stick tape again, so we're going to use glue here, And I don't want any glue oozing out, so, but I like it all the way to the edges so it sticks down. I'm going to just stick that down there. Now we got that in place. Now we're going to work on our cake. So we're going to put the layer on top of the big layer, the small layer on top of the big layer. So we got happy birthday showing there. And now we're going to use our little squigglies to give us a little bit of icing. And I just used that pink again that I had used in the card before. And I decided I'm going to use a few of these dots. You can leave these out, the drops, if you want. I'm almost running out of my gold stickles because I use it all the time, so I think I'm going to go to my white. And why not add just a little bit of the blue? Now we have these long white sticks. I cut them out of white cardstock, heavy cardstock. And I have these little starbursts that are out of that pink I used before and the dark blue. And I stacked them the same, an offset. So we have these cute little sparklies. We're going to really just make this really festive and make these long kind of sparklers is really what they're kind of look like. And I did cut I used the a hole punch, remember before, and with the glitter paper I did put that in the center as well. And then I also have these shorter little guys. I'm going to also use, so see, I put those little sparklers on there on the side. I have some foam tape on the back. And now I'm using these long pieces again. I cut out, yay, just like I showed you. I cut them out of the blue and the pink, and I thought I was going to alternate. But in the end, I cut them out of the glitter paper because I just thought that was a little bit more festive. So we're going to position these. This only has 2 layers to the cake, so I'm not too worried about that it's going to be too long, too tall like it was before. And we're not using the interactive piece in this. I'm just taking these little risers, or I call them sticks, just to make it simple. And I'm going to just put yay there. And I've taken these little tiny squares and I've cut them. I cut them like in quarters or in half, and I put those pieces right on the yay and those the little starburst part. And then we're going to stick this down. I'm going to line up my card base right with my grid on my work surface so that I can really see it, make sure it's straight. And there's another card. And I think this is really cute too. Here is a close-up of it. This gives you an idea of what it looks like when you see it really close up. Lots of ways you can use it. Here is the other one that we did that has the pop-up feature to it. Just to remind us of these 2 cards that we just made. And then we're going to go on, and here are the 2 together. And I am just pleased as punch that I have 2 birthday cards now that I can send out, because that's the type of card that I send out the most. And just as a review, here I use the All About Cake Stampin' Die Set by Concord and Night, then the matching cardstock and ink of Concord and Night. Just love them, try them out. There's a complete supply list down below, and if you haven't already, we'd love it if you would subscribe. I want to thank you so much for joining me again, and I will see you next time. Bye.